Last time I heard that song, Valerie Heffron, it was last Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time on the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, and I made some silly gesture like I was meditating, and I disappeared. And then that was funny. But Puffy's tail was doing the same thing it's doing right now. Oh, sorry, folks. This is PAL's Professionals and Animal Lovers show. I'm your boy, the nonprofit sector connector. What's going on? Tommy D here. Val, what is the tail going on your lap? Like, what are we working with here? What's going on?
So Puffy, I don't know if you can hear her purring, but she has decided to make a couple of cameos. She's getting more comfortable with the camera. And
we have a mascot. We have a mascot called Jovi the dog. What's going on here?
Currently he's on vacation, and Puffy seems interested in becoming somewhat of a more regular guest.
Sure.
And she is doing quite a good job right now, but we'll see.
Look, you know what? There's going to be a battle in that household. Who wants to be the mascot? So that's going to be that'll be an interesting thing. Probably some videos, Valerie. Probably some content we can get out of that when they're battling.
Probably.
Like a couple fighting for attention. So what is this show all about? So this is the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, and if you're new to this program, well, you're in for a treat. Every single week, we're going to help you learn about. We're going to help you find ways to learn about animal advocacy, learn about how to be an advocate, learn about the challenges that animals go through each week. We believe here that the bond between animals and people who care about animals, animal lovers that is as strong as the bond between a pet and its owner. And we believe that the people who care about animals like hanging out with, doing business with, spending time conducting business with other people who like, love, and care about animals. So this all came out of an idea many, many moons ago that Valerie had a networking event. A friend of ours, shout out to our friend Chris. He's an accountant, and he came there, and he would say he's not the most extroverted guy, but Valerie made everybody wear name tags about what their interests were. Not, hey, my name's Chris, I'm a CPA. Or, hey, my name's Tommy, I'm in the insurance business, but things that the person is interested in. And it really exposed an opportunity that we found here, and we're moving that opportunity forward, that the people who like animals like to connect with those others who like animals. The landscapers are outside today. The Long Island Railroad is running by the house. There's a lot of exterior noise. And then there's all the noise inside my head. And that's... that's even more noisy than the external world. But we're going to bring this show to you forever. Every Wednesday at 2:00 is the schedule right now. And then we, after we do the show live, we go onto the podcast platforms for you. But this place is called talkradio.nyc. Professionals serving community. I love when they say that right before our show, because I think that's what it's about. We're serving community. I am the guy on the show who's trying to learn. Valerie is the one who knows a lot of this and is teaching me, along with our array of guests and specialists. If you're not watching on Facebook, you're missing the show. I think, what is she doing? Puffy just cleaned.
This is fantastic.
It started yet, and we can just. This is why the internet was invented, so cat videos could be shown to people. So if you're not watching us on Facebook, I don't know what you're doing. Get away from your desk, sit on the couch, watch us on your phone on Facebook, or just. Yes. So each week we're going to bring you that type of information, those type of thought leaders, and we're going to educate you on how you can be a part of the movement, the animal advocacy movement, but the professionals and animal lovers movement. So Val, why don't you take it away? I usually say this, my comrade, my pal, Val.
What's up, Val? Hi.
What's going on?
I'm just trying to get some cat hair out of my nose. So here's the deal. Renee, I can't even believe this isn't happening to you. But
I'm waiting for them to jump on the table and to sabotage me. I'm waiting. They're looking around like, what's going on, Mom?
Yeah. They'll make an appearance hopefully soon.
You have to have them make an appearance. It's part of the rules.
So here's the thing. I really am compelled to say that, getting back to the premise of the show and what we're looking to accomplish, we're trying to create awareness and bring exposure to not only great rescues and people who are out there helping animals, but also like the businesses and the walks of life that they're in. So it doesn't matter what you do. And that's all I'm looking to convey, because some people think that being a lawyer or an accountant or something it's easier to, I guess, promote and garner attention to. I don't care if you knit hats for winter and sell them on Etsy or whatever. If you're involved and you're helping the animals and you're trying to, you're a person of compassion, then we want to have you on the show and we want to promote what you're doing. This way, like, for example, here come the holidays. And so there's a woman who owns a very well-known jewelry company. And, this is her time of year, Christmas and Valentine's Day coming up. Those are two huge jewelry shopping holidays, Mother's Day too, but really those are the two primary ones. So had I known before we got engaged that the woman who owns London Jewelers, and she's going to be a guest on our show in January, that she is a huge animal lover and that she supports rescues and that she actually has a line of jewelry that like a percentage of the sale price goes to like Paws of War and Camp Happy Tails and whatever. I would have said to Barry, you have to, if you're ever going to buy me jewelry, which I don't ask for, but if you're ever going to buy me anything that's jewelry related, please go to London Jewelers. So the whole point is that you don't have to own a jewelry store. You can be a waitress. I used to waitress. I love waitresses. I love the restaurant industry. Whatever it is that you do, we want to support you. So, for example, and without any further ado, I want to introduce this guest. So it is my honor, by the way, to have this woman on today. She is a spectacular animal advocate. She's out there, boots on the ground, doing so much. She has gone to municipal meetings and all of that. She happens to be a brilliant person. She's an IT project manager for the New York State Board of Education. So I don't know how to necessarily support her in business through that way. Like, what am I going to do? Send students to her? You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, whatever Renee says that she needs or wants help with, if she calls me up, I am going to bend over backwards to support her because she is a compassionate person and she helps the animals every single day.
That I do.
Yes. So
Thank
without getting too far, I want you to tell your stories. And this is my dear friend who I fell in love with before I even met her, Renee Kraft.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Kind of stalk.
Yeah.
And happy Thanksgiving Eve to everybody.
Yes, that too.
I got to point it out. That sounds a little stalkery. Like you felt like you fell in love with her before you ever met her. Renee, if you only want to hang out with Valerie when there's other people around, I'll understand.
I know what she meant. She fell in love with my petition. That's really what it was.
All right.
Well, yeah. And we, through Facebook, we found each other, or I think I saw her petition and helped circulate it. And then we talked on the phone and then we talked more. And before I knew it, with COVID and everything, it was probably a solid year before I actually met her. And I consider her to be one of my closest friends now.
Yes, I'm a very strong advocate of TNR. And last year I had created a petition to try to get the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter to reopen their program, their TNR program. So that's how our friendship began.
Renee, so we like to just spell it out. I'll spell it out. Trap, neuter, and return.
Return, exactly. Sometimes people say release.
I've been saying
we want to emphasize the return. The cat should go back where you got it.
Not just like, okay, we're all set, and just like drop you off on the side of the road, like where.
Exactly.
So that's an interesting thing for me. Can I say something just straight up? Because Val, I'm feeling extra silly today.
Yes.
So as I'm reading this, we have this background in bio on Renee, and I'm like, dude, you know what would be so funny? And that's what I was saying to myself. I was like, dude, I'm gonna dress up like a Ghostbuster, and Renee and I are gonna go do TNR, and we're gonna pick up a whole bunch of cats and like get them set up, do what we have to do, and release them back. But what a cool thing that would be, or I think it would be fun and cool, and maybe it's because I'm silly today, but where I can come out on location. We do a thing. It doesn't have to be like a real Ghostbuster thing. Do you have a uniform, Renee? Is there a uniform for your company?
No.
Okay. Can we get uniforms?
No, no uniform at all.
He's really all about dressing up. Like he wants to dress up he wants to be Santa, the Easter Bunny. You know?
No, I don't even have t-shirts. I literally just wear my jeans and any old t-shirt with a jacket, and
I'm thinking
that's it.
I'm thinking Carl's zipper in the front. It's like you got like a Carhartt suit, like like a delivery boy would have. Like
No, not at all.
I will say this, I don't get the Ghostbuster thing only because like they were basically exterminators, right?
Jumps.
Yeah.
The wrong
Did you go
messaging.
see
It's
the
wrong.
new movie? Because I know it's out.
No.
And I heard it was very good, by the way.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
I fell asleep. This was a bad thing because I'm afraid of things. So I went to sleep the other night watching the original Ghostbusters movie.
Uh-huh.
And then I fell asleep and I don't really remember, I didn't wake up scared. So I guess it was okay. But I will get off this topic in a second. We're going to go to commercial. This is what I see. I see you and me, like in the coveralls, and we're going out and we're grabbing the cats. And I have to take a bunch of like Benadryl because I'm allergic to cats. But then tell me, all kidding aside, if I come and do this with you or not, what happens? You go out, there's a feral community. Somebody's reported it to you and said, there's a bunch of cats here. I've been feeding them. Let's work together to control the population, which is all who don't know, I know for at least the last 12 weeks, I know what this is about. This is about trying to control the feral population, right? We're not euthanizing these animals. We're helping them to not make more and not make a larger problem for the environment, for us as humans and other animals as well. Correct.
Right.
So what does it actually look like? You go out and you very carefully trap.
Well, what I first need to know is, who's feeding them. That's basically key, is who's feeding them, when are they being fed, where are they being fed, how many are there. I have to have spay and neuter appointments available. So once I trap them, I have an appointment to take them to.
You don't do that work. So again, so I understand your relationships or connections have to be, where does the animal go? So you've already have time slots with who? With a vet? With a veterinarian?
With the low cost spay and neuter, I use multiple resources for my spay and neuter. I use shelter programs, and I use also private spay and neuter appointments with veterinarians. And I also take advantage of any rescue clinics that may be upcoming that I may have spots for. So it's I kind of dabble in different avenues to get the job done. And a lot planning has to go into it.
It's a lot of work. It's really a lot of work. And this is one of the reasons I think she's good at it, because she's a big planner,
I'm a planner. That's what I do for a living. So.
Right. And she showed me her calendar once and I was like, I couldn't believe it. But anyway.
Well, what happens? We got to go to a break already, Valerie, because
I know, I can't believe it.
It's because you keep talking, Val. Let me finish. Val, seriously. But let me finish. All right, here's the thing though. Like, what happens? Does somebody bankroll this whole thing, Renee? Like, I mean,
it depends. It depends. So if there's a homeowner, I will ask for them to cover the cost. Sometimes some homeowners, you could tell, are destitute. They can't pay for it. So I will pay for it out of pocket.
That does
happen. When I do my large TNR projects, I do fundraisers.
But Renee has gone into her own wallet so many, like countless amounts of time. And it's something that I greatly respect, but I just want to emphasize before we go to break that this is one of the reasons why it's so hurtful that the Hempstead shelter program has been so greatly reduced, because you used to be able to drop off 5 cats a day. And now it's 1 person per week, which makes it basically impossible to get stuff done. Very difficult. We'll be back soon.
Before we go, what do you mean it take 5 cats a day? Like that was what you would leave them there, have the procedure done, and then pick them up and bring them back and release them, or return them to where they were?
No. It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
5 cats a day per person. Like, so if a trapper was trying to handle a large colony of, let's say, 30 cats or more, they could come with 5 cats on Monday. The shelter used to keep them and recover them.
Right, you have to recover after spay and neuter.
Oh, right.
Right.
Not just, okay, so there's some time. All right, this is,
Right now, you're only allowed as a trapper to bring one cat per week. And prior to that, you could, if you were trapping a lot, could potentially bring 15 cats a week.
okay, all right, so 5 times 3. I got it. And
You
that's,
know,
yeah, all right, so that's going,
maybe even more. If you were able to get special appointments on Fridays and Mondays, you could even bring more in.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's a big difference.
a big problem. That's the problem. That's the
Yeah.
cliffhanger. Ladies and gentlemen, we call that a cliffhanger. So hang on to your hats and your seats and the whole thing. I actually have something special I want to share with everybody. I got to run downstairs and get it because it was a gift that one of our past guests sent me in the mail. Don't worry about it. You're going to get one too. I just got to work out the address situation. This is it belongs to you all, your professionals and animal lovers show. I'm Tommy D. That's Val. And that's Renee. We'll be right back.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
We got Renee to do the dance. We got Renee to just we're like happy little trees. We're like happy little trees blowing in the blah, blah, blah. Check it out. All right. So this is Professionals Animal Lovers Show. This is my friend Boone. There's a book.
I'm so jealous.
Get one. You start moving around the country, like South.
I'm so jealous.
So I got this. It's Tommy D. That's Val. That's Renee. This is PAL's Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. And this package came. Shout out to Tanya Dybel, Joey's paw. She sent me this book. I got a Merry Christmas card, and I got a like a baseball card too.
Aww.
Who's Boone? Who's Tanya? Tell us about these folks so I can put my book away.
So Boone was one of our guests. Tanya is his human, Tanya and Charlie, and he lost his legs to abuse, and she started a phenomenal foundation that provides prosthetics and wheels to animals in need in shelters, as well as people who can afford that. They've done over 1,000 animals, mostly dogs, but cats also. And Boone, cats, I think she said a guinea pig, a cow, like a variety of.
Wasn't it like a one time there was like what's the animal you have? What's the reptile you guys have? Like a Komodo dragon or something?
A bearded dragon.
All right, I was thinking like my next guess was crocodile. So I don't know it was a crocodile. Those are big, but it was one of those kind of reptiles. It was like a reptile who needed wheels as well.
Iguana, maybe. But anyway, so Boone, the dog on the front cover of this book, also just became Hero Dog of the Year. So I was rooting for him so hard. And he had already won Therapy Dog of the Year by the American Humane Awards. And I'm just so like honored. I mean, literally Boone's like a celebrity to me. But speaking of, just like Renee is like a hero in my world. And
Aw.
Renee, I want to ask you, because I don't think I ever really heard the story. I will tell you for myself, and I believe I have said this, but we had some ferals in our backyard. I even wrote a parody song about one of them because she was so cute. And I changed the lyrics for existing songs.
You have the lyrics to that song. Do you have them right there?
Of course, yeah. What?
When we come back from break, would you sing that song?
All right. So anyway, maybe, but so we tried to trap Barry and I, and we stunk at it. Like we were so bad. Sometimes the cats would go in under the trap, nothing would happen, and I thought they had magical powers. And then another time we trapped like a raccoon, and other times the trap would close, but no cat, and so whatever. But like, how did you A, get started in trapping? B, how did you learn, how to do it? And then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Well, no one had taught me how to trap. It just was an intuitive thing that I just learned by trial and error.
Wow.
I got started doing it in my early 20s. This was when I, had moved away from Long Island and was living in New Jersey, and I was in my first apartment, and it was in the complex that I lived in was in a wooded area and had a 7-Eleven, and it kind of was the perfect breeding ground for, feral cats and having litters.
Yeah.
And cats would come into the complex and people would feed them. And, you always have the people that, complain, and that's kind of where that came from. I was one of those people that wanted to fix it. So I went and trapped the mama cats and the kittens and brought them in. And mama turned out to actually be a stray. She wasn't a feral. And I kind of.
So hold on, time out. Can you a lot of people don't know the difference between a stray.
Yeah, so a feral cat is a cat that's never been owned. It's not a handleable, socialized cat. It was born in the wilds. It didn't have human interaction. Whereas with a stray is usually, a cat that's been owned by humans, that has been touched by humans, that has been handled by humans. And usually they either get lost or they get dumped. They get, the people don't want them anymore and they just let them out. And usually when they let them out, they're not fixed. So they're procreating and, and having litters. This was the case with this one cat. She had kittens. I winded up taking the kittens in, socializing them. And I winded up finding a home for mommy.
So hold on a second. I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but people hear socializing. They may not understand.
They go to happy hour, Val. They go to happy hour. You get a couple Cosmo.
Socializing is making a cat used to human touch.
Yes.
Getting them.
How important is that on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, if a cat isn't accustomed to being touched by a human and doesn't want to be touched by a human, they won't make a good pet. So they're not adoptable, really, unless they go to a special home where, like someone like me, I have a cat that's actually not well socialized, and she does not allow me to touch her. But she
lives with you, and you can't.
She lives with me. She gets along with my other cats. She's clean. She uses the litter box. She's well adjusted, but she just doesn't want mommy to touch her.
Wow.
So, I mean, she's a beautiful cat. She's sweet. She's not nasty. She doesn't, but she doesn't want me to touch her. So I usually always sneak a pet in when I feed her and then I run. Because sometimes, if I linger too much and I get a little carried away, she does go to swat me.
Yeah. All right, but just a swat, right? She's not going to snap at you or anything, right?
If she push the envelope, she might.
I mean, she has got me good once or twice.
That's important.
It depends on the temperament of the cat. Some cats just really don't want to be touched, and it doesn't matter if you're good to them and you don't abuse them. They just have that instinct. And
survival instinct, yeah, and it
yeah, I mean,
starts at a young age, because if they trust, think about it, if you're in the wild and you just trust anything and everything that's trying to walk up to you, you're dead.
yeah, it's really a timing matter. Kittens are best to be, taken from the environment between, 5 to 8 weeks. Once you get past 8 weeks, it starts getting a little bit more difficult.
Right.
Once the cat is about 3 to 4 months old, it's really difficult to.
Yeah, and this is something I really want to jump into.
It takes more time and effort, to get that cat socialized, and it may not be 100%. And that was the case with my Minka. She
The
really
thing I
did
want to
not.
say, sorry to interrupt you. The thing I want to say about the socialization factor is I would love to see in shelters and rescues to really make a push to attract more socializers, volunteers. It's like a job, you know what I mean? And
It's a lot of work.
it is
A lot of work.
a lot of work.
It's very demanding of your time too, because it's not good enough to just spend 15 minutes with the cat a day.
Right.
To really properly socialize a cat, you need to interact with it throughout the day. And the more people that interact with the cat, the better, because what happens with me is I'm spending time socializing a kitten. Well, the kitten gets socialized to me. But then, when someone else comes into the house, they're like, "Ooh, who's that?" So I actually partner up with a friend of mine who has a couple of high school girls, and I bring the cats to them for a week or two, and their friends come over and play with them, and I call it polishing. No, I do the intake, I deworm them, I get them well, because a lot of times kittens are sick when you get them. I get them to a good place where they're not biting or being really nasty or anything like that, but they're still kind of skittish and scared. And, once they're starting to let me pet them and handle them, I then say, okay, now it's a good time to hand them off and get them, get more attention from other people so that they can start becoming a little bit more friendly.
So I have a question real quick, because I want to understand something, and then I got to ask you about the Shabby Tabby Cat Cafe.
Okay, I'll try to answer questions on that.
Are you familiar with that organization?
I am.
All right, so cool. So here, first thing is this. Our objective is twofold, if I'm hearing this right. Our objective is to go out, trap, neuter, release, turn. We are releasing them, but we're releasing them back to where we got them from,
Exactly.
right? So
exactly.
we are. So technically I was kind of right, but not really.
I know.
Grab, neuter, return, right? But then it sounds like what we're doing is we're also picking up the babies. We're picking up these cute little kittens. Val, what was a woman who came on, our friend, the attorney down in Florida, with the Heather, and with I don't remember, Luna's, was it Luna's Legacy?
Yes.
Oh, if I was allergic to cats, like I would have had to get a whole, because like those little kittens are so cute. But what we're doing is, so we're socializing the kittens to help them find a home, so they're no longer on the street, and
exactly,
and we're helping the mom to not have any more babies. Got it?
Exactly. You're trying to definitely stop the population from expanding. Yes.
I'm on the show and I was trying to make sure I understood it. So I figured for the other people like me who aren't getting, I wanted to.
I'm so proud of you, Tommy DeMisa.
Oh, me too. Oh, why are you proud of me?
He's so modest. That's why I love him.
I like Tommy. All right. When we go to commercial break, I'm going to share with you guys on the Facebook, if you're watching, the Shabby Tabby Cat Cafe. Renee, you can tell us about that when we come back. We're going to break. My producer lets me know later when I see him. Sorry, Sam. Let's go to break. We'll be right back. This is PALS.
I am Joseph Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauver, employment law business law attorney and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc, now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hello, my name is Tommy D. This is the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. And if you're checking us out on Facebook, you see I'm showing you a website for Chevy, Tabby, the ChevyTabbyLI.com. And I would tell you, as I was looking at these pictures of these cats, it was reminding me as if I'd been there. In ancient Egypt, it was reminding me like cats are around for a long time, guys. Like, I mean, I feel like, you know, right, forever. And there's some level, I'm going to stop sharing everybody, but there's some like level of, I don't know, royalty or cats seem pretty smart, right? Like we all like dogs. And I will tell you, somebody in my household, I said, we're going to be talking about cats. And this person is more of a dog person. And I'm not going to mention him by name, but he was like, oh, I thought you were going to be talking about dogs today. And I said, no, cats is on the show today. So, so we're talking, it's a cat show today, but this is a Professionals and Animal Lovers show, if you hadn't heard. So, isn't there a lot of history? Maybe you guys can talk about that from cats, like going back to I think Cleopatra probably had some cats.
Yeah.
Right.
There's definitely a lot of history with cats, but I didn't really know Cleopatra that well. So
I didn't either, but I had cats. That's all I'm saying is I think she had some cats.
Yes. Well, probably. So, but I think it's really important to, so Renee, just to let you know, because I don't know if we got that into it, but Tommy has been volunteering himself. So when he mentions 60 days of service, that's what he's referring to. He has this goal of volunteering for 60 days with all these different organizations and or just people doing good things, right? So he's talking about volunteering to kind of piggyback with you to go to a location and learn how to track, what's entailed. He wants to experience this with you and help. So
we have to wear jumpsuits like they wear in Ghostbusters. Not to make a big deal. That's part of it.
So what I really want you to also educate people on is, what to do when they find, let's say, all of a sudden, I know how it was for me, all of a sudden, a random cat I'd never known before or seen before just showed up in my backyard. So you feel badly for it. You put out some water, it's hot outside, and one thing leads to another. You put out some food. Next thing you know, you're feeding them twice a day. If you're late, they're waiting for you. And then the memo goes around the neighborhood, and the next thing you know, it's 2 cats, and then it's 3 cats, and then all of a sudden one day there's Kittens. So let's talk about how to handle this. Like, what do you do when you stumble on some kittens or cats start showing up in your backyard?
Okay, so so there's different things that you do when it's a mama and kittens versus just feral cats. So if it's just, a colony of cats, all of a sudden adult cats start showing up. Usually what people do initially is they just start feeding because the cats are hungry and they're looking for food. When you become a feeder, the cats will start coming regularly to your home to eat. So, if you make the decision to actually feed the animals, the responsible thing to do is to give them shelter and to also get them fixed, get them spayed and neutered so that they don't, make more, because what they'll do is they'll bring their offspring to you to have them as well. And that's how large colonies get created, because people don't realize that they start feeding this friendly female cat. And before they know it, she's had 6 kittens in the backyard under the shed.
Right.
And now they're feeding 7 cats. And then they wait a few months because they really don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden those kittens, the female ones, they get pregnant as well, because the female cats can get pregnant as early as 4 months old.
Oh, wow. So
And
that becomes like,
about 3 litters a year. And the average, size of a litter is 4 to 5 kittens. Now they can have more than that. I mean, the biggest litter I've ever trapped is 7 kittens, but they can even have more than that.
Wow.
So it depends on the age of the cat, the health of the cat, the breed of the cat. Some breeds have more kittens than others. More of the purebred cats, like Siamese, they tend to have more cats, more kittens in a litter.
Yeah.
should you be feeding them though? Like Valerie said, she started feeding the cats, and that's kind of like a natural thing that you want. Like there's another animal there. They're hungry, right? They're
Right.
they're whining. That's my cat thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with people to do that. I mean, it's a very humane thing to
All
do.
right, so
It's
it's the right thing.
admirable.
Right, but there's more to
But
it. It's not just
There's
putting
more
out a
to
kid.
it, because that cat doesn't just need food, it needs clean water, it needs a shelter, it needs a warm place, to stay and to keep dry.
And when we talk about shelters, I want to talk about that for a second too, because I never realized how many people have these shelters, but specifically, I found out the most important part to providing a shelter. There's actually, like, they look like little igloos, or sometimes there's like a styrofoam, almost like a cooler, but they have a round cutout. And the most important part that I learned is that you have to use straw. You put that inside to help keep them warm during the winters.
Yeah. The most important thing about shelters is to be weatherproof, to be well insulated, and to be, to be dry, and not make them too big. People have this misconception, like, well, I have 5 cats, I need a big shelter for all of them.
My mom, when she was feeding a cat, put towels around it and towels inside. I said, no, Mom, you can't do that because
Can't breathe.
they get wet and they freeze.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you need minimal air space, because what it is that the cat uses its own body heat to warm up the space inside the shelter. So if it's too big of a space, the cat will never get warm, because it's too much of a space for its body heat to warm up in. So you want to keep your shelters small. You want to fill them with straw, not hay, not blankets, not any kind of bedding. You don't want any moisture inside. You want it dry, and only straw can do that, as long as it doesn't get wet.
Are they okay outside? Like when I'm assuming that when it's super cold, like when it's below freezing and it's snowing.
Cats, once the temperature starts dropping below 45 degrees Fahrenheit, the cat needs a shelter.
Where do they all go though? Where, like, if we don't put like man-made shelters out there, where are they hiding out? Like when it's super cold?
In your car.
Well, they find places to hide out in, but sadly, cats do freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Cats will climb up the wheel well of a car. They'll go up on your wheel.
That's why you should always bang on the hood of your car before you start it in the winter. It's amazing how many cats and kittens will go into the engine to stay warm for the night.
That's not good. If you
No, it's not
so
good.
sad. It's so sad. And this is why we need, more people.
People just have to make that habit to tap on the hood before they get into their cars and start.
Yeah. But also, this is why, again, we need these programs back in full force. In fact, they should bulk them up. So Renee, I just have to ask you out of curiosity, because I know we talk pretty frequently, and you always have stuff going on with trapping and cats, and I've got a litter of kittens in my garage. Do you have any idea like how many cats you TNR in, let's say, 1 year?
It's in the hundreds.
Oh my God.
Wait, you're personally involved with changing 100 of these, or the word used, getting them fixed?
Yes.
Hundreds each year?
Hundreds a year. Yeah, just me.
You don't have, that's your whole team is helping you doing that, right?
That's me.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's not unusual. You'll find numbers like that with a lot of trappers.
But I gotta go back.
I mean, I might trap more than the average, but there's a lot of trappers that do trap a lot of cats.
That's pretty badass. We talked about this earlier, but that is badass. Okay, like going out and trapping several hundred of these and helping them out. Okay. I know we're not supposed to curse on the show, but I did a bad word, Val, but it is.
It's in the dictionary. I think it's in the Bible also.
My TNR project that I did earlier this year, I did about 82 cats in that one 3-month span of that one TNR project. That's just that TNR project.
What does that mean by project? What do you mean by that?
So what I try to do is at least 2 times a year. This year I only did it one time. I plan out of TNR projects. So I have a soft spot for cats that are in industrial areas that aren't taken care of by homeowners. Yeah. And there's no funding in it. I have to do a personal fundraiser. And I think
you're not a nonprofit though. No,
I'm not.
You're just a person doing this.
It's a person.
I wonder, I don't often encourage people to start nonprofit organizations because there's a lot of work. And I always believe there's a program out there doing this already, and it might make sense to partner up. But in this scenario, I'm wondering if you've either evaluated that or given it any consideration, because
I have.
Yeah, it might be easier to get funding, or unless funding.
She's already.
Well, to be honest with you, the cost to run a nonprofit, it doesn't make sense. I could use that money to just put into my independent work.
So you get funding from people, or it comes out of your own pocket.
Well, yes, and it's both. I put a lot of money of my personal money into it, and I also do fundraising, but I don't do it too often. I just do it, once or twice a year. I might do a medical once a year. I did have a kitten that was very ill this year that I had spent about $3,000 on, and I did a fundraiser for her. Sadly, she
remember that. That was the one on the refrigerator.
I don't too many fundraisers, but when I do, the one I did this year was around 3,000. So, I have to watch because I'm not a nonprofit. Right. I can't fundraise that much money. I'll get into trouble.
I have to ask you just kind of like a fun question. So, is it okay to say what your license plate is? Or
TNR girl.
TNR, yeah. Her license plate is TNR girl. I feel like that's a great moniker.
I'm
hardcore. And the other question I have is right now. So today, and then we're going to go to break, but as of right now, how many traps are in your car right now?
Well, I can only fit 15 in my car, but I have double that. I have about 30.
OMG.
That's not the norm. Just so you know.
This isn't normal. This seems pretty normal. Hey, listen.
No, trappers usually don't have that many traps, but there's a few that have a lot of traps, but that's a lot of traps to have. Yeah.
Renee, plug into this show and you'll understand this tribe is not normal at all. I love it. Catnip Nation, pet trucks. I mean, what are we talking about here? Crazy host runs to the Dollar Tree and picks up a whole bunch of cat food in the middle of family time to deliver cat food to oh my God, Aunt Kate's house. I forgot our aunt. I forgot
Aunt Kathy.
Aunt Kathy's house last week. Hashtag Aunt Kathy. Shout out Aunt Kathy.
Who wants to be normal? I mean,
No, normal sucks. No, I don't have room for all those cat traps in my car. Plus, it made me sneeze. We're gonna go to a break. When we come back, we didn't even talk about Chevy Tabby Cafe. So you got
and we have to talk about the kittens.
Right.
so much to talk about. You might have to come back next week, and you're invited to come back next week. Right? Is it next?
Thank you.
Valerie will tell you about that when we come back. All right, we'll be right back, pals. 90 seconds back.
Join us every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for the Mind Behind Leadership, where we focus on what leadership really means to us and to others. We have practical discussions with the CEOs of some of the world's largest companies, owners of small businesses, and experts in psychology and behavior to get that inside track, what to do, what to avoid, and what really happens. Join me, Graham Dobbin, at the new time, 4 p.m. every Tuesday for the Mind Behind Leadership, here live on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
All right, we're back. I love it. All right, we talk about what to do when or if you find kittens. That's actually the name of the show.
Yes.
Okay,
So
jump in.
So let's talk about that. So one thing that I do want to really stress is leave them alone.
But they're so cute, Renee. They're so cute. I want to pick them up.
Listen, leave them alone. Okay, so this is why I say that. Unless it's some kind of, horrible situation where you can't. But typically, if people find kittens, they're disturbing a nest. There is a mama cat somewhere. She's probably off trying to go find some food. The best thing that you could do is leave them alone, because the most important thing is for them to be, fed by their mother, nursed by their mother. Mama cats give them the nutrients that they can't get from KMR. Cats need to nurse at least for the first 4 to 5 weeks when they are born. You can't just take a kitten from a mama unless it's old enough to be able to eat solid food. It has to be.
Hold on. Okay, yes, I agree. But
it's dangerous to take a kitten from a mama cat.
Right. So I find kittens. How the heck am I supposed to know how old they are?
Well, first of all, if they're not walking around, you can go online and look at, the progression of kittens, but kittens usually have blue eyes. When they're 0 to 4 weeks, they start turning, their eyes start turning, and then they'll just be like the regular color that they are. So that kind of helps people ascertain whether or not they're still under that 4 to 5 week age, right? So what I'll say to people is are the eyes blue? If the eyes are blue, it's no, they're too young. are the babies coming to eat? No, they're just sticking with their mama. Well, then they're still just nursing. They're probably starting to go get their teeth. They won't come to eat until they actually have teeth. And
That
what
was
I've
the
asked-
sweetest thing, that I didn't know all of this until one of the cats in our backyard, the one I wrote the song about, she got pregnant, she had kittens. And she would come, we were her primary, feeder source of food. She would come
Right.
when the kittens became old enough, she would come to eat and she would call them.
Yes.
And these
Yeah.
cute little white, fuzzy, cute little kittens would come
Yeah.
sing along. And
as soon as they can come along and eat on their own, where they don't necessarily need mama to eat, I like to swoop in at 6 weeks of age. That's what I like.
Okay.
What's important is provide mama with shelter, food, and water, and leave her alone. Stay away from her, because if she sees you near her kittens, she's gonna move them.
Is she also gonna
grab them and leave, and then you're not gonna know where they are.
Is it like bird? So it's not like, I worry, like sometimes if my kids are, actually my wife was doing something with the shrubs in the back and we knocked over a bird's nest.
No, you can touch a kitten.
You can
Mama's
touch
not
it.
Gonna,
It's not like
gonna
that.
abandon it.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But sometimes mama cats abandon kittens because there's something wrong with the kitten.
It's so sad, but that was.
Sometimes people find these kittens, they're like, why is this kitten out here all by itself?
Yeah.
And sometimes those kittens don't survive because they do have health problems.
So she knows, like, leave it here. I can't waste energy on this animal. I just gotta move on. Wow,
One of the hardest things I ever had to do, I thought, giving up my foster cat was hard, but one of the hardest things that I ever had to do was get the kittens trapped and, removed. And I give you so much credit, Renee. I really commend you, because it's not easy what you do. It's not easy. It's laborious. It's physical. It's time consuming. It's money.
It's heartbreaking. It's very emotional.
It's heartbreaking. It is so hard. We did the right thing. She had 4 kittens. We trapped all 4. We got all 4 adopted. Seeing like the first cats that were trapped, like 2 of them at the same time in one trap. The mother was sitting next to the crate and everybody was crying to each other. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? And like, you're doing the right thing. That's the only thing that pushes you forward, but
yeah,
so hard. And then
if you find an abandoned kitten, you should definitely not ignore it.
Right. And then all the kittens were saved and they were spay neutered and adopted. And she, for a week, was sitting outside in my backyard calling for her kittens.
Oh, come on. So you took, like, I'm sorry.
Get over it.
Oh God.
You'll get over
so
it.
hard. It's
Cats
so
are not
hard.
like humans. They don't, they
But
get
did
over
you
it
do the right
rather
thing?
quickly.
Renee, in your opinion, is that the right thing though? Like, or should we have left them alone and let them move
No,
to the family?
it's absolutely the right thing. And not only that, but mama will at times abandon her kittens once they get to a certain age and just move on and go have another litter.
The reason why we do this, Tommy, just so you understand, it sounds so, it's brutal. It crushes your soul, but it's because the outdoor life is horrible. It's horrible. They've got to battle the elements. They have to find food. Sometimes people will feed cats or whatever, and then they move away and there's no replacement plan. They have to worry about predators. They have to worry about other cats fighting them for territory or whatever. They have to worry
about parasites and worms and
getting run over by cars. And it's
I get it.
You know how many kittens lose their eyes to eye infections? And that's another reason when sometimes you may have to intervene. You could see that there might be kittens that mama has and, they have eye infections and they're, and then if there's a medical reason, sometimes you have to take the kitten sooner from the mama, but you've got to be prepared then to bottle feed or to find, a rescue that might have an existing nursing mama that would accept, the kittens. But that's not a good choice. You know what I'm saying? Because that's very few and far between. It's not likely that you're going to find that. That's once in a while. You're lucky, but a lot of times
Right.
you have to rely on bottle feeders, and it's a lot of work to bottle feed a kitten.
So let me go back for 1 second, because I think it's really important to provide people with information. Well, before I get to your contact info, I'm just curious, have you ever considered doing a workshop, like a workshop to teach people how to TNR, to teach people like how to handle this situation? Like, what if I'm trapping and all of a sudden, oh my God, I have this eye infection kitten, when are you bottle feeding? Have you ever thought about providing workshops? People would pay you for that. I would have paid you for that. I would have been like, I have no idea what I'm doing, clearly, because my trap. No.
No.
But maybe you should, because that could fund those courses or whatever that is that Valerie's talking about. That curriculum could fund the TNR work that you're doing, right? Maybe.
Well, what I do is I show my homeowners when I go to trap for them how to trap. I mean, a lot of times I get them involved.
You teach them how to do it.
How to fish.
Teach them.
Right.
We're running out of time, and I showed the Chevy Tabby. What's the Chevy Tabby Cafe? What's that about?
Tabby's a wonderful place to go, adopt a cat. Basically, I don't want to speak for them, but their mission is basically to take, strays, cats that have been abandoned or are homeless. They were once owned previously by an owner, and it gives them a second chance. And what Ryan has done is she's created this beautiful environment for the cats to run free and play with each other and interact with each other. And it's a beautiful environment for people to go to interact with the cats and
We'll
get
have to have them on. I'm going to ask.
Yeah, Ryan, we're to call out to Ryan, the founder of Chevy
she's
Tabby.
the owner of Shabby Tabby. She does a beautiful job. She's a wonderful person, and it's exceptional what she's done. And they partner with Almost Home Rescue out in Patchogue. Dawn is the wonderful rescuer that runs the cattery there.
All right, so I'm sorry to cut you off, honey. We do have to jump shortly, but just really quickly, if people want to reach you, what do they do?
Go to my Facebook page. That would be the best way, and message me if they need TNR services. That's the best way.
So I just type in Renee Kraft.
I have a page. It's called the Long Island Feral Cat Trapper.
The Long Island Feral Cat Trapper on.
She's crafty. She's crafty.
And the reason why
We're gonna
it's so
sing
long is that if you Google any of those names, like on Facebook,
Yeah.
you search any of those, my page will pop up.
All right. Cool. So if you can't find the information, follow us, PALShow on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. We will make sure you're connected with Renee. Just reach out to us. It's actually Jovi at PALShow, PAL-show.com is our that's our email address. Renee, we appreciate you. Val, tell everybody about next week, and then we got to bring it to a close because we're at time.
Next week is our holiday roundup, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have prior guests on, hopefully today's guest as well, and future guests. We're going to give out a holiday tip each person that's on, as well as promoting whatever you do and how can we help you. So donations are, swag, merch, whatever you got. We want to help you guys as much as possible and help the animals. Thank you, Renee, for all you do.
Renee, thank you. I look forward to meeting in person. I have a great vision of me going out and trapping. I'll take a whole jar of Benadryl that day, the non-drowsy Benadryl. But in his total commitment to nonviolence, Gandhi always included the animals, stating, "The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated." I'm grateful for you all. Happy Thanksgiving. See you soon. Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.